What's up, y'all? Sparta here. So, apologies for the change you see in the frame. Don't mind that. But I want to do a early impressions video on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now, the main reason this is like after a few days and not say after a week is because I had the 12 Pro and for a little bit, and it's pretty much the same experience overall, just with a few things that are indeed better. Battery life obviously is going to be better. Bigger battery means bigger numbers in terms of that. The camera, which larger sensor, better for low light, and that's pretty much it when it comes to that. But in terms of like 4K 60, Dolby Vision, all that, HDR, they both pretty much do the same thing. So let's get into this here. Let me make sure I don't have anything. Apologies, I just had some notifications to wipe away. But let's get into this here. So overall, the feel of the phone, I really do like this. There are a lot of people that are like very anti flat border when it comes flat frame when it comes to these new iPhones. I personally prefer it. It's very iPhone 4, 4S, 5, 5S like, where an SE Gen 1 where it gives you this very, flat look. It's easier to hold for me personally. I didn't really like the rounded corners of say the 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max, but say phones like say the V60, which also has flat borders, but it's also curved to the back is also curved. I like this kind of design as well. It's very HTC 10 like, but in terms of what this is really nice. Another thing that a lot of people aren't really a fan of is the color. This white and gold color. Like the back is a very blush gold to the point where it just looks white. And to me, I really like how it looks personally. I thought I wouldn't because it's not really flattering to a camera how like sharp this back looks, but it's very nice. The frame at the same time though is very smudge prone, just like it was on the 11 Pro Max. And if you could handle that, if you can handle that, fine. But say if you're a bit of a germaphobe or whatever, you might have to handle this phone with delicate hands, or might have to constantly wipe the phone off or wear gloves or whatever. But for me personally, I just keep it in a case and I'm fine with it. Again, the gold is a really nice color. I do prefer the graphite, but this isn't something where I'm like, I don't like this color at all. I like it quite a bit. The screen is very nice. Compared to the 11 Pro Max, where I did have some issues with like YouTube video watching, where sometimes the video would look a bit like not pixelated, but it would look not nearly as sharp as it does on say my V60 or Note 10 or G8, 6T. And the 6T kind of matches blows with it, but even the S20 FE here, which I'm recording on, it didn't look nearly as sharp. This display, though, looks very sharp, very clean. I don't have any issues with that. And before people were like, oh, your 11 Pro Max probably was a bad unit. I was like, no, it wasn't a bad unit. I don't know why when someone else has issues. Would you look at as many phones as I have over the years and not just an iPhone, you notice more things than you want to admit, right? And the iPhone 11 Pro Max in particular, while I really did like that phone, the screen wasn't that sharp to me in terms of YouTube watching. What is apparent between this and the 11 Pro Max, though, battery life does feel a little bit lesser. Like, the 11 Pro Max easily got me to 8 to 9 hours of usage, right? Whereas this is giving me 8, but sometimes it'll be 7. But it's not that big of a drop off to me personally to where I'd be like, this is a complete downgrade. I wish Apple didn't lower the battery size, but it's Apple. They always want to make their claims and brag and boast, so let them be them, right? Nice overall. Fast charging is also really nice on this phone. The last 10% will take the longest out of the entire charge time, but overall, you don't have to worry if you have an Apple product about your phone charging fast or not. This phone charges really fast. Face ID is cool. Obviously, in this era of being forced to wear a mask, basically, Face ID is not the best option, which is why I wish, like the iPad, they did employ Touch ID into the power button. But, they don't want to do it, so fine. Call quality is nice as well. The haptics, when you are able to actually use haptics, are very nice as well. Say you download Gboard, you enable haptic feedback, it feels very good. It still feels weird typing on an iPhone because it feels as if it purposely makes you mistype stuff. Like, it's kind of weird. And while this isn't, it's probably because I'm so used to the width of the V60 that this doesn't really feel all that great in terms of typing, but it's serviceable. It gets the job done. And it having my main SIM in there is totally fine, and I don't really have any issue with it. 128 gigs of base storage is really nice. This is the 128 gig model. I really don't have any issues in terms of like storage yet, I think. Let me actually go and look. So, general, about, is it in here? No, it's not in here. Oh, iPhone storage. Sorry, I have it super low, so I can't really see. It's funny because I can only really see it through the phone screen. But why is it on manual focus? What the fuck? But I have 41 gigs used of 128, so that's really nice. God, that felt kind of painful. Really, Samsung, really? Let's do that. I'm just not gonna hold it up to the screen anymore, to the camera anymore. Yeah, storage is nice. 128 gigs rather than 64 gigs of internal base storage is nice, so you don't have to pay a pretty penny, really. I mean, you still got to pay a pretty penny to get this phone, period. But you don't have to go to 128 or 256 gigs off the jump. It's just 128, 256, 512. So that's really nice. Color options are really nice too. But as I said, I got the gold, so that's all that is. Widgets are cool. They're not Android widgets, so they're not going to be nearly as in depth. But the ones I do have, like the Siri app suggestions, are really nice. When I was using this on the 11 Pro Max, it was really nice to see, oh, I connect a Bluetooth headset and say Castbox and the LG Tone Free app comes into here. So that's really nice. Or YouTube Music as well. That's cool. It's a very nice widget to have. The battery widget is really nice too. It'll tell you the battery percentage of your phone and your connected devices. So say a Bluetooth device or your AirPods, which technically are Bluetooth, but that will show your AirPods in general, their battery percentage and the case's battery percentage. So that's really cool. Let's talk about the camera. This is something that this phone seems to get a whole bunch of praise on, right? And for good reason. I really think it's a really good camera. Is it the best out there? To me, personally, no. It's definitely one of the best, but I think a lot of these tech reviewers are overstating how good these photos are because of Apple speak, right? Apple brings out these vague bar graphs and tells you how much better their devices are compared to the competition. and they will tell you, oh, this is just the phone to go with for photography. And in my personal opinion, the main sensor is really nice. It really is. I really think this is a very nice upgrade for the main sensor. But the problem that I have with it is the fact that it doesn't get as bright as the V60 sensor. It really doesn't. It like when you go back into the Photos app, it auto processes the photo and then adds a whole bunch of and adds a filter and then exposes the scene a little bit better so that it looks as if that's what the sensor did. But you could actually see it in real time, and I'll actually post a video of this because I actually took a screen recording of this phone taking a picture, and it's the exact same scene, and the V60 taking a picture of a scene, and how this phone will just auto process the fuck out of it and honestly make it look like an entirely different picture. Not entirely different, but make it look how I don't really want it to look. So that's something to be stated. I don't like the fact that the phone automatically goes into night mode when you're in dark situations. I don't want to use night mode. I don't always want to use night mode when I'm in a low lit situation, Apple. I really don't. It's stupid. The video recording on here, though, is really good as well. Again, it's not really the best. I think a lot of these reviewers, again, are overstating what this phone can do. It's really good. I'm not trying to say it's trash. But in terms of like daytime video, there were a couple people in my comment section comparing this 4K 60 video, or not this phone in particular, the iPhone 12 Pro's 4K 60 video compared to the V60's 4K 60 video. Both were in HDR, or I would think the iPhone be in HDR because they automatically do it, and it's a dynamic type of thing, which I hate. It should just be I turn it on or I turn it off. But whatever. And people were seeing issues like, say, the exposure compensation being a little bit jittery, or there being a lot of lens flares when it doesn't really make sense, or it being a little bit hazy. And there's quite a bit of details that people like to just leave out because it's the iPhone, right? And lens dot, for me, the lens dot issue, it's not really an issue to me personally, mainly because it makes sense why it happens. You aim the phone's you aim the sensor at a light source, you'll get lens refraction, right? Which is lens flares. And you will get this green dot sometimes that'll come up. And people think that's some sort of issue with the software. No, it's hardware. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it just comes when you aim the camera at, say, a sun, and then that's what just comes up. Now, Apple could take them out and say, and their auto processing and stuff like that. That would be pretty cool. But the V60 also does this. But I never really noticed it until I got this phone, that's what happens. So I'll show you guys a couple of samples of what I mean here. This display was on, what the hell? Where are they? All right, so let's go to this one. You guys probably can't see it. Lord, come on, Samsung. Oh, there we go. There we go. There's the auto mode. Okay, so let me zoom in here so that you guys can see. I took a picture of the light right here, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different lens dots right there. Almost 6. That's bad. If you don't pay attention, you won't notice. And same here. About 6 right there as well. I highlighted this in my previous video, my video about lens dot. And to me, it's something that you can definitely avoid, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's the most huge, gigantic, worstest issue this phone can have. Because it's, to me, it's just natural what happens with a lens, right? This is sharp glass. This is a very nice camera overall, right? It makes sense that something like that would happen because you're aiming the camera at a very bright object. So it makes sense that it would happen. So I don't see it as a gigantic issue. Again, this isn't me trying to say that Apple is fine and every other manufacturer that has it is terrible, because like I just said, the V60 also has it. And I'll be real, again, I didn't really notice it, but it's just something that I want to bring up. It's just something that happens. It just shows you that not a lot of people know what causes these things. They just bring them up and see it's a potential issue, and they want to fanboy out and say Samsung doesn't have this issue. HTC, if you have an HTC phone anymore, RIP. Well, not RIP, they're still around. But if you, Huawei doesn't have this issue. They say that with a lot of these other companies, just because there's one thing about a phone that isn't on their phone, or that they haven't seen on their phone yet. It could be Huawei could have this issue, but only 5 people in the U.S. get Huawei phones. And I would really like a Huawei phone. LG, like I said, has this issue, but only 15 people in the U.S. get LG phones. Sorry, LG, I don't mean to V60. I don't mean to shag you like that. And I know it's way more than that. I'm just being hyperbolic and just being stupid. But in terms of what this phone could do, I don't use portrait mode, so I'm not really going to talk about LiDAR like that. That's mainly what it's used for. And I assume it's basically just going to be like what the Z camera does, where it's a depth sensor, so it'll do better face detection and background detection, which is cool. But to me, I don't take portraits, so it just doesn't matter to me. You get 12x zoom on here now, which is really nice. You're not going to get like a whopping 30x zoom like you do on the S20 FE, but it's really nice. It honestly looks as good as the 10x zoom on the 11 Pro Max or the 10x zoom on the V60, but overall it's just not, to me, it's not the 30x zoom on the S20 FE, so it's not going to wow me all that much. But it's nice to have it nonetheless. Bluetooth connectivity. I feel Bluetooth connectivity is a bit of a wash. Sometimes it'll be fine, sometimes it won't, but it's not terrible. Obviously, if you get AirPods, it'll work better, and it's funny because when you go into Bluetooth settings here, oh, I gotta use Face ID to even see that. I'm not trying to disconnect Bluetooth. What the fuck? As you guys can see, they got AirPods and AirPods Pro already in here. And I haven't connected AirPods Pro to here. I haven't connected a single pair of AirPods Pro to this phone. So that's kind of weird to me. Unless it's synced through like iCloud or something like that. I don't know. But that's kind of weird to me. That's all I really want to say for this, though. I don't want to sit here and make a 25-minute video talking about this phone because, again, it's an impressions video. Overall, the video is very good. Everything about this phone is very good. But to me, and this isn't going to be a Android user uses iPhone for a week, will it make him switch? It's not going to make me switch. It's just going to make me keep this phone as a companion to my V60. That's all it's really going to do. And it's perfectly fine like that. to me personally, I feel this phone is a very good companion to my V60, and I might actually make that video next. So let me know in the comment section below what you guys feel about this. This is Sparta. Thank you guys for watching. Next for support. Hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday? Yeah, I think it's Thursday, or whatever time of day it is in the area. Have a good one.